All right, so listeners, are you ready for another deep dive? This one is really creepy.
Oh, yeah.
We're tackling a spooky story sent in by a listener
Okay.
named Susan, and it's all about a house that whispers. Now, is this a real ghost story or just a really good piece of fiction?
Right.
Let's find out.
I think one of the things that really stood out to me when I first read this was how Susan, sets the scene.
Yeah,
Like she contrasts this really ordinary suburban house,
right.
maybe even a little rundown, with these just unsettling events happening inside.
Yeah.
It's like she's emphasizing how the most normal places can actually hide the most terrifying secrets.
It's a good point, and it's kind of like that feeling that you get,
Yeah.
when you realize that the world is full of things that are hidden,
Right.
that we just don't know about.
Exactly.
And this story gets right to the creepy stuff right away.
Okay.
Susan, her husband Mark, and their young daughter Lily move into this house,
Okay.
hoping for a fresh start, but instead, they find themselves dealing with whispers.
And it's the way that these whispers are introduced
Yeah.
that is so masterful.
Right.
At first, they're almost unnoticeable.
Yeah.
Like faint radio static or just the wind, easy to dismiss as the house settling or something like
Yeah,
that.
just kind of old house noises, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then they start to become clearer and more distinct.
Uh-huh.
And then this is where it gets truly unsettling.
Yeah.
They start calling out the family members' names.
Ooh.
I mean, just imagine being in a new house
Right.
and hearing your name whispered from the shadows.
Yeah, that is seriously creepy.
Right?
It's like this house is aware of them.
Yeah.
Like it's singling them out.
It's personal.
Yeah, it's not just like a random haunting.
Exactly.
It's like it knows them.
And it gets even more personal.
Oh, no.
Oh, because the whispers go beyond just names.
Oh, really?
They start revealing things from the family's past.
Like what?
Arguments, bedtime stories that Susan told Lily.
Oh,
Even just snippets of conversations they had years ago.
it's like the house remembers everything.
It's as though the house is listening and remembering,
Yeah.
holding on to these private moments.
That, to me, is one of the most disturbing things about it.
Right.
It's not just that there's something spooky in the house.
Yeah.
It's that it knows too much about them.
Right.
It's like too personal, and then there's this detail about Lily's laughter.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
The detail where Susan describes hearing Lily's laughter
Yeah.
coming from the basement in the middle of the night.
Oh my gosh.
Even though Lily is sound asleep upstairs.
Wow.
It just raises so many questions.
Yeah.
Is it really Lily's laughter, or is it something mimicking her voice?
Yeah.
Trying to further unsettle the family.
Right, like mess with them even more.
Yeah, it's messing with their heads.
Yeah.
Playing with them.
It's like the story is just messing with our sense of what's real and what's not.
Exactly.
It makes us question what's real, what's just a product of this house is, evil influence.
Right.
It's brilliant,
Yeah.
but it's very, very creepy.
And as the story progresses, the whispers escalate from these personal intrusions
Mm-hmm.
to something even more disturbing.
Like,
Warnings.
okay, so yeah, things definitely take a turn here.
Yeah.
The whispers become more urgent. They're
Right.
telling the family to get out
Yeah.
and to leave now.
Yeah.
It's like the house knows something they don't.
Right.
Like something terrible's going to happen.
You know something bad is coming.
Yeah.
This is where the story really taps into our primal fear.
Okay.
The idea that our homes,
Yeah.
the places that we consider safe,
Right.
can turn against us.
It's true.
And this fear is just heightened by the personal nature of the warnings.
Right.
It's not just a general sense of dread.
Yeah.
It's a targeted threat
Yeah.
directed at Susan and her family.
At them specifically.
Yeah.
You can't help but just feel a sense of urgency and even panic
Right.
from whoever or whatever is behind these whispers.
Yeah, they're not messing around.
No, they're serious.
Yeah, and Susan and Mark, they react like anyone would.
Mhm.
In this situation, they try to take a break from the house,
Okay.
hoping that things will calm down when they come back.
Yeah, but of course in like a classic ghost story,
Right.
running away never solves the problem.
Never. It doesn't. No. In this case, it actually seems to make things worse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like being away from the house for a bit, just agitated whatever was in there even more.
Oh, wow.
And so they decide they can't just ignore this anymore.
Yeah.
Like they need to figure out what's going on.
So they start investigating, right?
Yeah. And they start searching the house.
Uh-huh.
And in a classic horror movie twist,
Mm-hmm. Right.
they find this hidden compartment
Okay.
in the basement.
Okay, so they find this hidden compartment.
Yeah.
And this is a big moment in the story, right?
Right.
It goes from just being psychological horror
Yeah.
to there being a mystery.
With real evidence.
Yeah, and inside the compartment,
Okay.
they find an old journal.
Whoa.
And you can imagine, like, the anticipation as they open it,
Oh, yeah.
hoping for some answers to what is happening to this
Wow.
haunting.
So what's in the journal?
What they find is really chilling.
Okay.
The journal belonged to a woman
Uh,
who lived in the house decades ago,
okay.
and her entries reveal experiences that are so similar
Right,
to
right.
what Susan and her family are going through.
It's like the house is following a script
It is. Yeah, it's like a script.
and just repeating these terrifying events over and over.
With every new owner,
Yeah.
the parallel between the experiences of this previous resident
Yeah.
and Susan's family
Right.
is a crucial element
Right.
because it suggests that the house itself
Ah.
is the source of this haunting,
Oh.
repeating this cycle of terror.
So it's not just a random ghost
No,
or spirit
something tied to the house itself.
tied to the structure. Yeah, like it's part of the house.
Oh, that is so unsettling.
Right?
It's like this living entity feeding off the fear of
Yeah.
whoever lives there.
Of its inhabitants.
And just like with Susan, this woman's experience
Right.
started with these subtle whispers
Yes.
that got darker,
Right.
more threatening.
She also started hearing her name, receiving warnings to leave.
It's like it's playing this twisted game
It is.
with them, drawing them in.
Yes, drawing them deeper into its web of terror.
And there's this detail in the journal
Yes, there is one detail.
that just stood out to me.
Right.
This woman describes hearing her husband's voice
Yes.
calling her name,
Right.
even though he was right next to her.
It's suggesting that this entity
Yeah.
isn't just limited to whispers.
Okay.
It can manipulate perception,
Oh, wow.
plant these seeds of doubt and fear,
Yeah.
play with their minds,
Yeah.
play with their relationship.
That is terrifying.
It is.
It really makes you question what is real and what is not.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
if the house can make you hear things,
Right.
what else can it do?
What else is it capable of?
Right.
That's a question that hangs over the rest of the story.
Yeah, for sure.
And what makes it even more unsettling is that the journal ends abruptly,
Oh, no.
with no explanation
Real.
of what happened to the woman and her family.
So we don't know what happened to them.
Their story just vanishes.
Wow. So Susan and Mark are reading this,
Yeah.
and they get to the end,
Right.
and it just stops.
It just stops.
Do they ever find out what happened?
They do eventually find out what happened to the previous family.
Okay.
They were found dead in the basement.
Oh, my God.
No signs of struggle.
No explanation.
No explanation, just gone.
Wow, that is scary.
The fate of the previous family
Yeah.
is gut punch.
Right.
It confirms that the whispers are not just harmless pranks,
Okay.
but a precursor to something much more sinister.
Right. It raises the stakes. For Susan and Mark,
Exactly.
makes their escape feel even more urgent.
Right, they realize they could easily suffer the same fate
Oh, wow.
if they don't get out.
And it seems like the Whispers know this too, right?
They do. As Susan and Mark are frantically packing their belongings, the whispers become even more desperate,
Really?
almost pleading with them to leave.
It's like whatever's trapped in the house wants them to get out,
Yes, it wants them to escape,
to break free.
to break free from this cycle of death.
This is interesting
Yeah.
because the Whispers go from being threats
Yes.
to being pleas for help.
Right, it adds another layer of complexity
Right.
to the story.
To the story. Yeah, it makes you question,
yeah.
the nature of this entity or whatever that's behind them.
Right, is it malevolent?
Uh-huh.
Or is it also a victim,
Oh, okay.
trapped within the walls of this house?
It makes you wonder.
Yeah, and it's a question that Susan and Mark grapple with
Yeah.
as they're making their escape.
So they're leaving.
They are. And their escape isn't easy.
What happens?
As they're leaving, Susan describes this feeling of a constant presence.
Like someone is watching them,
Yes, like someone or something is following them.
always with the whispers.
Right, always accompanied by these insistent whispers.
It's like the house is watching them
It is, yeah, it's aware of their departure.
and maybe even fighting against it.
Yeah, you can feel the tension
Yeah.
building with every step
Every step.
they take towards freedom.
Okay, and so they make it out.
They do.
They're driving away.
Yes.
Do they look back?
Susan does.
What does she say?
She describes seeing the faces of the previous family
No.
in the upstairs window,
Oh my gosh.
their mouths open in silent screams.
It's like they're trapped there.
Yeah,
And they're trying to warn her.
right. It's like even in death,
Yeah.
They're still trying to reach out.
It's such a powerful image.
It is.
You know, the faces in the window, mouths open, screaming.
Just screaming silently.
Yeah, it's like burned into my mind.
I know, it really stays with you.
So creepy.
It makes you think about those trapped souls.
Yeah, and what they want.
Are they trying to hurt people?
Right. Like, are they evil?
Or are they trying to help?
To warn others.
To prevent others from suffering the same fate?
Right. Or maybe it's something we don't even understand.
Right. Yeah, it's something totally different.
So after all of this,
Yeah.
what do we think about this house that whispers?
Right.
Real ghost story?
Yeah.
Or just a clever piece of fiction?
I don't know. I mean, it's impossible to say for sure.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it so interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
It plays with our fear of the unknown.
For sure.
Makes us think that even normal places could be hiding something scary.
Yeah, like anything could be haunted.
Exactly. And it also makes us think about memory, trauma, whether what we do can leave a mark on the places we live in.
Kind of like an echo of the past.
Yes, exactly. Like an echo or an imprint.
It makes you wonder about your own house.
Doesn't it?
What would it say if it could talk?
What stories would it tell?
What whispers are hiding in the walls?
Exactly.
Or under the floorboards?
What secrets is your house keeping?
That's a great question,